This episode of Super Over is brought to you by DP World. From transporting the soil and grass 1,200 miles to New York for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, through to the Beyond Boundaries initiative to make cricket more accessible. DP World's smart logistics help deliver the game at all levels. Smart logistics, beyond boundaries. Welcome to talkSPORT Cricket's Super Over. Jarrod Kimber here with Bumble. You know I tell this story all the time, but I'm going to do it very quickly again. You once made 200 in a test match. Someone yelled out, how much bloody longer? Can we ask that of Joe Root at this point? How much bloody longer is he going to keep making runs, Bumble? Look, maybe people are a little bit more enjoying of his runs than yours, but that's personal taste.
Well, the last bit is about right, that Joe Root is marginally a better player than I was.
Yeah, fraction.
Yeah, super, isn't it? 150 he gets today, and you can just tell when he was out and he's stumped and he tried desperately to get back. You know, that disappointment, so he's hungry for runs. He's now second, isn't he, all time. He's gone past Ricky Ponting, who was here today, doing some commentary work, and so he's just in hot pursuit of Sachin Tendulkar.
Well, he went past everyone today, didn't he?
Yeah,
He went past Callis and then Ponting.
Yeah, so they were all in a tight bunch. He's gone past a lot. Beautiful to watch, and you can tell that when you get a player like that on a pitch like this, he ain't going to miss out, gets 150.
As you said, he was frustrated. He got stumped, and then he wanted to leave, and Dhruv Jurel threw the ball down. He tripped on the ball on the way off, so he got more grumpy with that. And then he got told by the umpires to stay, and you could just tell he was like, "I'm out of my crease. I don't. If the keeper had his gloves in front of the stumps, I don't care at that point." He was just really frustrated with himself, and that's part of it. Every extra run matters. Were you surprised that he didn't celebrate the overall landmarks? Because there was one sort of quick wave of the bat, but everything else he was like, I just want to make as many runs as possible today.
Do you know, he's obviously in the zone, and we know him, and he's undemonstrative. He's not that guy who's going to break a record and run all round the ground and kiss the badge and so on. He's a level bloke, steady bloke, got a good lifestyle, good family style, and so he will know, and he doesn't talk about Sachin Tendulkar, who's the greatest, alongside Brian Lara, and then you go down to Vivian Richards, Gary Sobers, you keep going. But nevertheless, he's going to get there. He's 34 years of age. He's got a couple of years of test match cricket to get past there. But he's put England in a great position. You know, they're in a real good position, nearly 300 on, aren't they? So they're bossing the game.
I'm going to ask you about something that I know that you really like. We seem to have told the umpires that they're allowed to umpire again. So suddenly today we saw there was one stage where Joe Root asked for a new bat, but it couldn't just be new bats that were brought out, was it? Had to be water bottles, it had to be towels and all this sort of stuff. And Rod Tucker just went over and went, no, get off the field, right? Yeah. He did the same thing to Ben Stokes when Ben Stokes was cramping. And we've seen players, but Mohammad Rizwan famously was, they said to him, that was a lot of bad cramp. And he said some of it was cramp, some of it was acting. Rod Tucker seemed to say to Ben Stokes, mate, sorry, you can't keep batting. If you can't stand up, get off the field. There's too much time is being wasted. Looks like they've actually allowed umpires to be umpires again.
Well, we've got new umpires for a start for this game. There's a new match referee in Jeff Crow. And so after the antics of the last test match, I would have thought that ICC had filtered down to the match referee, has been into the teams and said, look, this is how it is. Don't mess around. You're playing about with the game. You've got to respect the game, respect the people who are watching it for a start. We've got another full house, so I think that Tucker in particular was forceful today.
Did you like it though as a former umpire?
Absolutely. I mean, you're mentioning that. We didn't get any of that, but we didn't have DRS. You know, I got, when I was a player, a young boy, Mr. He called him Mr. Buller and Mr. Elliott. And of course, you've got to try and get on the same wavelength as the team and keep the game running smoothly. But the players have got a part to play in that to make sure that the tempo of the game, as we saw in farcical situations previously, 75 overs in the day, it's unacceptable.
Yeah. India have struggled, and we'll talk about the pitch in a bit, but they did actually bowl really well first up today, and they just couldn't break through. The amount of times they got the ball, at one end it was hitting that hump or that bump, whatever you want to call it, the line on the pitch. The other end it was keeping a little bit low for Mohammad Siraj. But they just couldn't break through in that first session, and that's what they needed. But what you're going to tell me is no one breaks through on this pitch.
Exactly that. I've seen every game here, particularly red ball cricket, and It's a graveyard for bowlers. The endeavour was there. I thought, okay. And there's one or two have said that they were substandard, they weren't up to it. No, I think they tried everything that they could. The pitch is the winner. And England were intact in that morning session. They were 2 down overnight, and they went through that morning session. So by being intact, it's going to dictate the game, as it has done.
I wonder what you thought about Washington Sundar's drift. So it's something that's kind of gone out of spin bowling a little bit. Like, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, Moeen Ali might be the last guy who was really known as someone who could really drift the ball a lot. But Washington Sundar today, you're watching those balls, they're just drifting away, and he's getting the outside edge. And then he beat Harry Brook as well and got that stumping. And we have a look at the data. It says he's drifting, almost 3 times as much as some of the other spinners in this game. He really does. He's more like an old-fashioned spinner, even though he's quite quick and like a modern one.
But it's obvious, if he's drifting it and he gets the breeze, it's perfect here now, since they've turned it round 90 degrees, so you get a crosswind all the time. And so if he gets on that crosswind and he's putting action on the ball, I think that's so important. If you put action on the ball, think Shane Warne, action on the ball, he drift it in as a leg spinner before it spins away. Lethal. And so Washington Sundar is doing the same. He must be putting revs on, like Moeen Ali would do. So if you can hit the drift, now you're in business. If you're beating the outside edge, you're always thinking he's got to a right-hander off spin, he's going to spin it back in and get the inside edge onto the pad. But if you're bringing the outside edge in as well, and you've got a good slip, and he has, he's a wonderful slip fielder. He catches, crikey, he catches pigeons.
No, he does very well. What I would say is that I think India missed the trick not bowling Washington to Pope more, because Pope actually prefers the ball spinning away than he does in. He really struggles with off spin, and we've seen that a lot. And I think they really missed an issue. Also, Washington Sundar's been probably their second best bowler outside of Jasprit Bumrah.
Well, now you're coming to captaincy and a young captain who would look at and think, well, we haven't got enough, 368, 358. We've not got enough, and he looks to me, in situations like we've had today, he isn't proactive. But I understand that. He'll have so much going on from other players, senior players, do this, do that. And so you come a little bit muddled.
Yeah. I wonder what you thought about Shardul Thakur. They seem to always want to pick him. They don't always seem to always want to bowl him.
Well, the one thing that I'm seeing about India is that they're always wanting to lengthen the batting. And Yadav, as we've talked about Yadav, why is he not picked? I've seen every game here for years. Give me a wrist spinner every time on here, but they're not playing him because he would lessen the batting. Yeah. They're concerned about the batting.
Doesn't work very well, does it? Lastly, is there any way India can draw this?
Yeah, they can. I don't think...
You're not worried about the odd low bounce?
No, I'm not.
It's very slow, isn't it?
You can play on this pitch for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it won't break up. It usually hardens up and doesn't get any quicker. It's a nice, pleasant bounce. I should think if you've got the resolve and you've got the concentration and the steel, you've got to come out of this with something. And for India, just at this moment, coming out with something is a draw.
Well, let's see if Bumble is right. He won't be here tomorrow either way, but we'll see you tomorrow on Super Over.